Aloha. As was stated earlier, my name is Robert Birchall. If this is the first time you're hearing that, it's not surprising. Most students and staff, parents, just refer to my last name, Birchall. Even worse is when a student will yell out my name while my family and I are walking around campus where we live. For the rest of the evening, both of my sons will switch from saying Dad to, Hey, Birchall. I want to start by thanking a few people. It is my honor and nervous privilege to address the class of 2025. So to the class of 2025, I thank you for allowing Ms. Camarello and I to assist in leading your class for these last 4 years. Thank you for allowing me to speak today and for your many words of encouragement, like, please don't be boring, or please just be quick. Or my favorite, from one of my kids' favorite senior babysitters, look, we know you like to yap, Birchall, but we've heard enough and we're ready to graduate. Thank you, Miley. In fact, there's even an over-under right now on how many mistakes I will make today. But in all sincerity, thank you for growing with me, for allowing mistakes to be made, for smiles to be had, and tears to be shed. To the faculty, staff, coaches, my friends, thank you for believing in this class, these students. Thank you for your patience, your passion, and most importantly, your love for teaching. That helped grow these students into what they are today, beautiful individuals. To the parents, thank you for trusting us to help your children grow in stature and in confidence. Thank you for believing in them and allowing them to thrive at this institution. Thank you for your support along this journey. Whether your child was with us for 13 years or for 1 year. And lastly, thank you, Julie, one of my best friends here on campus and was my lead class partner for all 4 years. When I came to you in the spring of 2021, after graduating the previous class, I told you I would love to lead a class with you, but only if I had a partner who I felt would help me grow and that, most importantly, I would get along with. I would not be standing here in front of this beautiful class if it weren't for you. I appreciate you so much for more than you know. Okay, today I want to mention that the idea of this speech was meant for baccalaureate, a smaller, shorter venue. Julie and I were voted by our class to speak at these venues, and I was sentenced with baccalaureate. A short time later, she kindly asked if we could switch. And as was my response to her the last 4 years, anytime she propositioned me with an idea concerning our class, I said, oh yeah, no problem, I got you. So today, I want to talk to you, class of 2025, and to do that, I want to take you back to almost 5 years ago, when we were sitting on the floor of Castle Lecture Hall, trying to be spaced apart, masks on, with nervous eye glances back and forth. Parents had either dropped you off for the day or finished saying goodbye to you in the dorms as they departed to return home. Either way, you were in our care for that day of retreat activities. As I had prepared for the day to lead a few games and activities for our retreat day, I began to recognize that this class was unique. Your class advisors and I got to witness a few things. We got to see joy in the midst of fear, laughing without the recognition of a smile, and most importantly, connection, despite the constant reminders to be 6 feet apart. Now, not everyone sitting here was there that day freshman year, but most have similar experiences to their freshman year in the complex times of post-COVID. Our class is historied with students who joined along the way. Some have moved on, but all here belong, and all get to be called Kamakani. And because you get to be called Kamakani, you join a family of graduates who also sat here before you and will continue to sit here long after you leave for life's further adventures. That word family means a lot. but here in Hawaii, we get to use the word ohana. I had the opportunity to reflect on its meaning about a month ago when I dropped my son off at preschool. As was usual on our trip from HPA, where we live, across Waimea to Kamehameha Preschool, he and I just talked. We discussed what we thought was the best kind of truck, whether the trailer we owned could hold 1,000 million French fries, and what Mom had packed for his bento at lunchtime. But as we neared the last gas station out of town, it signaled the time to pray for his day at school. We thanked God for his friends, his family, and lastly, his kumus. After I finished, he asked why I mentioned his kumus. I told him how his kumus were not only there to teach him about preschool terms and his numbers and sight words, but they were there to help develop him into a young boy. They were there to assist his family in raising him. As I was explaining how his teachers at preschool would take a role in raising him, I thought about how they were an extension of our family, part of our ohana, and therefore in our hearts and in that morning's prayer. It was nearly 5 years ago that I had my son, and nearly 5 years ago when I decided to help take on leading this class. So to reflect back on the journey that my son has had moving on to HPA in the fall to start kindergarten, I couldn't help but also reflect back to the beginning of leading this class and seeing how far we've come. In doing so, I often think of how this class is a part of my ohana too. In fact, I would argue that this class is one big ohana, with shared experiences, passions, developments, and lessons learned. This family has grown from timid incoming freshmen to capable, equipped, loving young individuals, all of which took a family to develop. In that growth, there are highs and lows. Any bit of lessons and life experiences come with heartbreak and victory. I have also witnessed this class tackle both circumstances. This is the class in school that reached out to our fellow community school when they were experiencing the immense pain and loss to one of their own earlier this year. This is a class that grieves with one another for losing loved ones, for the breaking of relationships, or for giving your all on the court, field, or arena and still coming up short. In those times, ohana is what helps us through, who we can rely on for strength and guidance that isn't our own. On the flip side, ohana is there to be in connection with. Early on in your high school, I quickly recognized the rising lower campus crew that was all too familiar with each other and blossomed early as leaders and key individuals for determining the vibes of the class. That group was all too eager to get to know other people from around the world within our boarding community. Not to be outdone was the boarding community itself, with its own soon-to-be 4-year lifers who were also eager to maintain a connection together. And smack dab in the middle, between the two communities, was our very own Vice President Zane. Like that scene out of Captain America: Civil War where Steve Rogers is holding the helicopter and the helipad, Zane was there, seemingly trying to keep the two united. There were many others who contributed to this unity as well, and witnessing those relationships develop was heartwarming. I have also witnessed joyous moments when our class ohana celebrates. We celebrated victories on the field, the court, the pitch, and the pool. We celebrate together over art, musicals, plays, and recitals. Just about in every way, our class loves to rejoice with one another when one of us has success. In fact, just last week, I heard every other class give an account of how this family has impacted them and helped them become a better person. You have represented this class well, and you have made me proud to be part of this family. So now we get to today. We're this family of teachers, administrators, nurses, coaches, and staff. HPA is now sending you out We're sending you out to represent us and yourselves to the world. And while you're leaving this family that has helped raise you into wonderful people, you have a task before you. You are responsible for finding another ohana, one that will build and mold you into the next chapter of your life. But even more important than finding a family that will build you up, you must also find a place where you contribute too. See, the ohana thrives when all members contribute to the cause of making the community a better place. When the ohana looks out for your best interests, but you look out for its too. For there you will thrive. There you will find success. There you will represent our HPA ohana and build it that much better. I thank you, class of 2025, for being a part of my family, but also letting all of us be a part of yours. Thank you.